I've read all about it, but explain to the viewer what exactly it means to repurpose the oil rig.
The basis of it is that they seal and cap the well where they've been doing all the drilling and remove all the drilling infrastructure. So that well is going to be sealed and capped the exact same way, whether this platform is reefed or it's completely removed. And the oil companies retain the liability for that well in perpetuity. So should there ever be a leak or anything like that, the oil company is always responsible.
Right.
But then there's this massive infrastructure, like the scaffolding of a building, and some of them range from 200 feet to down to over 1,000 feet of water. So these are massive structures. Imagine like the Empire State Building, but it's just scaffolding. And that's the platform jacket, and that's where all the marine life has been growing since that platform was put on the seafloor. Because marine life is attracted to hard substrate in the ocean. And so to repurpose that platform, what they do is they usually cut it down to about 80 feet below the sea surface, and that allows for ships to safely draft over, and then that structure is donated to the local parks and wildlife, whether that's Louisiana, Texas, California, and that Department of Fish and Wildlife will manage that structure as they would any other artificial reef. So in California, we have Shipwreck Alley. Down in San Diego, we are throwing rubble off of Palos Verdes. We're making all these artificial reefs, and the Department of Fish and Wildlife manages those reefs, and so they would manage this oil platform reef in the same way they would any of those other structures.
And it's hard to talk about rigs to reefs without talking about the importance of reefs and without talking about some of the damage that we've seen with some of our nearshore reefs and why these reefs are important. So you really have to talk about it hand in hand. And plus, if you want to understand the Rigs to Reefs program, you need to understand why this marine life is attracted and producing on these structures. So I'd say it depends on the audience. If we're talking to kindergartners, we're going to talk about it very differently than if we're talking to a college-based audience. But in general, we talk about both in hand in hand.
Okay, yeah. And so right now there's still oil rigs where they just cut it off and then remove everything.
Well, many structures are not actually great reefs. Maybe they've been placed in an area that doesn't have, maybe it's really sedimented, so it doesn't have a lot of marine life that's going to be attracted to it. And in those cases, those platforms should be completely removed once they're done producing oil. So I think there's been almost like 500 to 600 platforms that have been reefed, and the majority of them are in the Gulf of Mexico. But many platforms are just typically completely removed once they're done producing oil.
Right. So yours is a case by case, which makes sense.
Yeah.
So if there was no reef there, it would all be removed.
It should be removed.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. And then when everything is going well and the rig has turned into this beautiful reef with life, and then they remove the top portion of it, how risky is it then that there will be oil leakage because they really shut it off, right?
Yeah. So when you reef or totally remove a platform, the process is exactly the same. So the well gets sealed and capped in the exact same way. So the risk of an oil spill it's there forever. Once you drill an oil well, there's a possibility there could be a spill. But whether or not you reef or totally decommission and remove a platform, it doesn't increase the chances at all, which is a good thing, and that's a question we get a lot, so I'm glad that you asked that.
Right, yeah, that makes perfect sense. I can't believe what a magical thing, like you say on your website, a silver lining in something that's not good, that we all use so much oil and we have oil rigs, but then there's a silver lining that there's.
Yeah.
And so I'm just shocked that California isn't on board. And plus you have all the major, Patagonia, Mission Blue. How do you work with Mission Blue? Because they're such a known environmental organization as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, when we first started our company, we had such a nonprofit mission in many ways, but becoming a nonprofit is really challenging. It's very expensive up front, and it takes almost like a year to process all the paperwork with the federal and state government. So we became a limited liability company, but we still wanted to apply for grants and have the benefit of being a nonprofit. So we partnered with Mission Blue under what they call fiscal partnership. So we were able to apply for grants and accept donations, and the money would funnel through Mission Blue, and Mission Blue would take a percentage, and then it would support the education, outreach, and exploration research initiatives that we were doing. So they really were a major partner in supporting us almost, I think we had that partnership for almost 4 or 5 years, and then just this year, we founded our own nonprofit, the Blue Latitudes Foundation. So it took us a while to get there, but now that we're here, we're really excited about it, and we're able to function as our own nonprofit now. But